We're live, baby. All right, let's go live here. Bear with me as I get the technology. Trying to get my, oh, there we go, Instagram. Nice. All right. So I'm gonna get going here, guys, in about a couple of minutes. Just let people trickle in, whoever will be watching us live. I know a lot of people. I've already got messages will not be live because of work, life, whatever the hell is going on outside. This sky is crazy. Like it literally looks like the windows have a filter up. I'm sure you see that as well. And we're live on Instagram. Look at this. What up, Dennis? How we doing, guy? Good to see you, my man. So, all right, yeah, big announcements, guys. I'm really excited. We're gonna get started in about a minute or two, and then we'll get rocking. How are you, Dennis? How you doing with your workouts? Everybody wants to know. Everybody loves Dennis. We all want to hear it, brother. Sorry, and by the way, if I'm looking over there, it's because I have another screen over there. This is my computer. This is my other computer screen. So I use that. I use both. I worked with Dennis. Gosh, I don't even know what year that was, Dennis. If you know, mark it down in the comment section. But we worked together, gosh, somewhere around 2013, and he did awesome. So much fun to work with. So committed. He says, "You're my body double, right?" That's right, man. Hey, that's right. I'll take it. I'll take it. But your hair, you got, your hair, man. I don't know if you, it's a nice head, man. It's a nice head of hair, and that's something. Forget about the body. The hair itself is amazing. 18 pounds in 6 weeks. Let's go, baby. I love that. That's awesome. Hell yeah. Let's keep that on. Let's keep that going. So, all right. Well, without further ado, I mean, let's get into this. Goodness, I've been coaching for over 20 plus years now, which sounds crazy, but it is true. I started as a freshman year of college, which was 2009. I always forget college and high school, 09, 05. But yeah, and it's been a roller coaster. It's been my life. It's been my mission since. And as I've been sort of stepping back from the training space, so I had gyms. I had 5 gyms. I had 4 melts, and then in 30 Fit in Florida. And in COVID, I sold my last gym. Right after COVID, I should say, I sold my last gym, and it was a really tough time. You know how you're seeing all of those like Netflix documentaries, like POV Netflix documentary on. I'm gonna do. I'm giving it away, but I want to do it on owning multiple gyms during COVID, right? It was just wild, right? And then it was just I felt it was time for me to kind of just move on from that space in that time, and then from that time, after that I still obviously still loving helping people. I was coaching people remotely, and that was fun. It was cool, but it missed something for me. I long for that interaction with people. Like I love me a sweaty hug or a hand. Some people are like, hey, I ain't hugging, which is cool. I get it, but hand hugs. I'll take a sweaty hand hug all day, baby, all day. Right? The connection part I missed, and through a whim, I fell into finding out about the technologies that we have here at Define. Medical grade red light therapy. When I heard about you can spot reduce through red light, I was like, bullshit. Like, no, you can't. You can't spot reduce through exercise and diet, right? Because that is what we know in the fitness industry. And that is true, by the way. You cannot spot reduce through exercise and diet. However, upon getting it done myself and then reading a lot of research, and there's over 50,000 clinical studies, it's like, if you get the medical grade and if it's FDA cleared, it actually does do the thing. So, that led me down into Define, and at Define, then we got into the Metabolic Boost Pod. I got licensed as a hypnotist, and that's been amazing, and I'll get into that in a second. But through doing the wellness services at a wellness center, it brought back the element of the human connection, just seeing people and working with people. Because I can tell you something, that there's nothing better in this world for me outside of my family, especially kids, but there's nothing better to see someone who is scared, insecure, broken, you name it, then see them can transform between your eyes. Forget about the physical, like, yeah, that's awesome. But like the internal part, the confidence, just seeing the way they dress. I always say at the gym, one of my favorite parts of owning a gym was I would notice when people would come in, they might look fit, they might be fit, or they might be someone who's just getting started on their journey, but you would see them come in with like dark clothes and really like sort of like kept to themselves. Then all of a sudden they start building their swagger up. They start progressing through the exercises, they're building commitment, they start feeling better about themselves. They're popping in with like the most fluorescent flower pants you've ever seen. And I used to just love watching that, because it's just, you witness transformation. There's nothing better from that. So I've gotten to do a lot of that with Define because our technologies work extremely well. And we've been able to see that happen. But I've been doing thousands of consults, and literally thousands of consults over the last 4+ years. And I'm talking to people on all things that are going on in their life, mentally, emotionally, physically, stress, you name it, fatigue, all of these things. And it was just, it became abundantly clear to me is that like, there is just such a disconnect on so many different levels. And people would tell me that what stuff they're doing with their trainer, or stuff their PT had them do, or didn't have them to, or stuff ortho told, and all of these things. And I kept hearing more and more and more and more things that I was able to sort of help guide people through, even though I wasn't necessarily doing physical coaching with. And it lit something in me, and then through the years, having, reconnected with so many melters at events, some worse than others, unfortunately, but just through the local scene and just reminiscing about the days, it wasn't about how hard the workout was. It was about the connection that was made with the people, and the people that we fostered together, and that there's something special when you're sweating together. Like, to me, I find that very, in a weird way, it's like there's just a level of like trust that goes in when somebody gives you, as a coach, for me, as someone gives you the privilege to trust you with their health and and invest in you financially. Like, I've never taken that. Like, that's an amazing thing to have that, right? Because especially like going back with my story, like growing up bullied and called stupid and retarded and thinking those things, because that's what I was called so often, and having that reinforced by the traditional school system, that little child that was hurt still lives within me. While I've never been overweight, I know what it feels like to feel isolated and to feel afraid and to not feel good in your own body and to not want to talk because you're afraid of what people might say, all these things. And so like that experience, getting to then come on the other side of that and help people through it on their own journey, like there's just nothing better. And again, through doing all these consults, I just realized there's just such a void. The circus workouts that are going on at these gyms and on Instagram is just crazy. And also too, just the way society is going in terms of stress, like what you did for a workout 10 years ago will not work in 2026. It just won't. And so often stress is never, ever thought about. We think about workout as a stress release. Workout's not a stress release. Workout's a tension release, right? Workouts induce stress. And so the high intensity interval training, what we used to do at Melt in 30, even though it was low impact and super safe, like my philosophies and approaches have all evolved with the times. We live in a very stressful world, and our brains haven't evolved, right? Like the part of our brain that has anxiety, that has fear, is the same part of our ancestors, like the same type of operating software, if you will, that our ancestors had thousands of years ago, right? If the body is experiencing stress, it's going to hold on to fat. It's going to elevate your nervous system. If your elevated nervous system is your system's nervous, if your nervous system is elevated, blah, blah, blah. If your nervous system is elevated, I'm sorry, I'm a little excited. You're not going to recover, right? And if you're not going to recover, again, we're holding on to fat, but also it's going to affect your energy, your fatigue, your sleep. So all of these things, and then you juxtapose that, particularly to women who are going through menopause. I don't need to tell any woman out there, it doesn't get harder than that, right? And there are so many women who are suffering and struggling because the abundance of information out there, a lot of which is BS and overwhelming, that, again, it just brings you back to like, look, I'm confident in my ability, not from a place of ego, but from a place of results and experience. Because over the course of the 2 decades, between the fitness, between yoga certification, between hypnosis, between wellness, between lymphatic drainage, menopause, I mean, I can go down the list. You start developing patterns of what works, and then thinking about all the work I've done hundreds of hypnosis sessions over the last several years. I love hypnosis. It's an amazing way to speed up, accelerate the ability to transform and quite literally we rewire the way a subconscious thinks, and working with people who have had such traumatic childhoods, and whether they're micro or macro traumas, we all have had something in us, but if it's unresolved, it will affect us as an adult. And so you take all of these things, and then don't even get me started about nutrition and how crazy that whole world is with nutrition. You got to do this, you got to do that, don't do this, don't do that. It's very confusing. And I think we all know at this point, you cannot diet. You can't, that's not going to help long-term, right? And so I've seen so many holes, and I just want to get my hands back in there and help, There's really no better way to say it. And so long-winded way to say is starting next month, I'm going to personally be leading our small group personal training here at the Fine. We already have the space clear. It's going to be capped off at 6 people. I'm going to be personally leading it. And I am so excited because I know human potential. If there's nothing in this world, I know human potential. My superpower is to be able to connect to somebody and get them to do things they never thought they could do. That is something they've always wanted to do, to get them to create this, like basically evolve from where they were internally to where they want to be internally. Because guess what? If it doesn't happen internally, it doesn't matter what happens externally. You're going to continue to yo-yo. So many self-sabotage patterns are not because you're fat, because you're lazy, because you're stupid, because you don't know what to do. No, not at all. It's internal self-sabotage that is really just trying to protect some level of insecurity and likely some default setting you learned way back when you had never had a choice in the matter. But it's, as an adult, it's manifested as a way of being. But that doesn't mean that's how you are. Whether it's anxiety, whatever it is, right? But that's an important part of it. So with this new small group training, yes, obviously physical training, which is going to be very big on pain reduction and recovery. There's going to be a recovery part of the program. The workouts are going to be, of course, always safe, always low impact, strength focused, but less is more. Quite honestly, and this is a lot of people disagree with me, but I will argue this to the death because I see what I see when it comes to recovery, and you really don't need to be working out more than 3 days a week. Now, I'm not to say slow state cardio walks isn't good to do and other things like that, but like in terms of intense workouts, again, if your body's not recovering and you have a lot of life stress, mental, emotional stress, well, guess what? You're not getting what you deserve out of it. And so recovery is going to be a big part of it. Mindset is going to be a big part of it. So every one of my clients, we're going to be doing a quarterly, starting when you start, mind map session. A mind map session is what I do now with my hypnosis clients, which is basically to extract some of the internal belief systems that are going on, fears, doubts, worries, concerns, helping them understand what's going on objectively. Because when you can have clarity, so a lot of people will identify, I'll use anxiety as an example. I'm anxious. No, you're not. You might be thinking, oh, you don't know me. How could you say it? No. Hear me. I'm saying you're not an anxious person. You weren't born to be anxious. There's a part of you internally that feels like he or she needs to be to survive, right? And that sounds really like wooey and crazy. Trust me, if we went down that rabbit hole, you would better understand. That's a kind of different topic for a different day. But I know this because I've helped so many people who have had that presenting issue. But then as they start to understand who they are and what they got going on internally and where it came from and all of this, well, when you get it out of your head, you're able to create space. You're able to create objectivity and clarity. And when you're able to have objectivity and clarity, you start to become more conscious in how you think and what you do. You know, I hear so much about food noise and cravings, and like those are real things for sure. But it has nothing to do with willpower. I hate to say, you know, we blame willpower. Don't you dare tell me you don't have willpower. It's bullshit. I know you do. I absolutely know you do. I guarantee you do. There's things that you do every single day that require willpower. When you might say, well, but when it comes to food, when it comes to working out, I don't, no. It's just that we got to draw that congruence. There's just a missing link. That's all it is. And that link is possible. The link is there. So part of the mind mapping is just trying to understand what the noise is that's going on and help get in the way. But it all brings us back to the nervous system, the physical body, the mental body. They are together. You can't transform externally if you don't transform internally. And the other part is true too. And so many people have elements of things. They're doing some workouts, or maybe they're doing some mental health stuff. Maybe they're doing some recovery. Maybe they're focusing on their eating. Maybe they're losing weight through any other method, which is okay, right? Like, I'm not here to ever shame taking medication or surgery. I've worked with hundreds of women who've gotten gastric bypass, gastric sleeve, tummy tuck, GLP-1s across the board, on it, off it, back on it, getting off it, you name it. The key is to understand is how can we create a holistic long-term strategy for you, right? And in my eyes, it has to connect everything together. That's just what I've seen to be true. And so every session, literally you come in, we're going to have a conversation, you know, as we're cooling down and stretching, we're going to find out what's going on. We're going to make sure we're all on board, that we're talking shop about things that matter in a practical world so that we can move the needle for you. Right. And, you know, I got to say too, like outside of what we've talked about, like I've really missed more than anything when it comes to coaching is celebrating people's wins, but more so just watching people celebrate their wins. And that has to be a part of it. And I am not talking weight loss, right? Weight loss is as I think is probably the worst metric you can measure. And, you know, a lot of people say, well, my doctor said I should be this weight. Well, your doctor's using weight because that's the only method they can easily use for the entire population, right? But weight doesn't determine health. You might say, well, no, I'm overweight. No. Body fat, muscle percent. You know how many people I work with who have lost all of this weight, but their muscle percent is 20%? If your muscle percent is 20%, and I say work with like at the wellness center, if your muscle percent is 20%, guess what? You are at fall risk. And that's a serious thing. That's a real serious thing. And forget about function and forget about endurance and forget about energy. All these things go back together. That's why it's really hard for just to transform your body or transform your life, but only address one facet. And don't even get me started about gut health. Like that's a whole nother rabbit hole I went down because my own personal journey at my last bodybuilding comp, like 4 years ago, whatever that was. And going behind the scenes to see how messed up, and I hate to say it, but it is, how messed up the GI world is. And it's not rocket science. I was a guy, I couldn't do 1,000 on my SATs. I tried. I'm not bragging about that. I tried. My mom didn't have the money to, but bought me a tutor so I could do better at it. And I studied and I still couldn't get over 1,000. Like, I'm not here to say I'm the smartest guy in the world, but I've been able to figure out gut health pretty damn well. I've never had anybody who I've worked with who actually came open-minded to work with me and follow the plan who didn't improve their gut health. Oh, I go twice a week. That's how my doctor just said that's how my body is. Bullshit. No, it's not. I promise you it's not. And if you're taking laxatives and if you're taking, things like omeprazole ongoing indefinitely, most people don't even know how poisonous that stuff is for you long-term. Their label used to say, don't take longer than 2 weeks. Now they sell it in 2 weeks servings and they don't have to have that label. And so the gut health world is getting worse and worse and worse. Yes, GLP-1s are a part of it. So are stress. So is the American diet. Even if you eat really good, high protein leads to acidity. IBS. I mean, there's just so many things that you don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure out. I certainly am not, but I have. And so these are things that we have to make sure that we're having these conversations about, because if you're not eliminating daily, guess what? The waste, you don't just get double elimination the next time you go or triple. No. the waste becomes toxins. Toxins are fat soluble. Toxins go into your fat cell. They will create inflammation. That's going to make your fat cells bigger. That's going to create GERD and acid reflux and all those things. It's going to lead to loose stools and all of it. But also, toxins lead to free radicals. Free radicals lead to cancers. Cancers lead to diseases, and so on and so forth. And so I figure that, the way I can leave a mark on this world is to give all that I've been able to learn, garner, and gain from it, from experience. And I feel like working with people, the physical part, like that's a part that I'm just missing. I'm missing it, and I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing it back, baby. We're bringing it back. And so I'm starting with 3 days a week, 4 sessions a day, 2 in the morning, 2 at night. I am only working with people who are serious, though. It's not like a sales thing. It's legit. Like, I'm not babysitting. If you know me as a coach, that's not how I am anyway. But like, if you're someone who's not going to show up, then we're not working. Like, that's just not going to be a good fit, right? I'm not asking you to come confident. I'm not asking you to come ready 100%. Let's go. No, you don't need that. You don't need that. All I just ask is you to show up. That's it. Maybe you give me 20%. I'll take it. I'll probably get 40 out of you. Maybe you give me 40. I'll take it. I'll probably get 60 out of you. That's okay. That's the other thing I've learned, not just in helping so many different people, but myself. My workouts are completely revolved. I'm actually working out less than I've ever worked out before because of how important recovery and nervous system and all these things are, And so I want to work with people who want change, who just don't want another workout. And so I do want to make sure we're going to be a good fit. And I am only starting with 12 people. We're going to launch on a bigger scale in September. But starting off next month, August, I will be taking 12 people. And if you are someone who is interested in that, then I have a link in the description. I think I haven't used this software, so I could have completely effed this up. My volume on it be working, so who knows? There's that. But yeah, I'm pumped. I'm absolutely stoked. So let's see if I can. Is there any questions that I can answer? Where are the questions that I would see, by the way? Oh, there's comments here. Here we go. Little Joey says, I love you, buddy, my buddy. Appreciate you, Rick. And hey, congrats on your transformation, dude. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love Steve Rake, and go follow him. He's got a great transformation going on. Liz, what's up, baby? And by the way, as I see people, near and far, also to know that, yeah, obviously, like, I think it's always the best working with people in person, but the program that I'm going to be offering in person is also going to be accessible through an app, still communication, Zooms, all the things, but I'm going to be taking on clients all over as well, within the limits of what I have available, but it's not just going to be in person. What's up, Mark? Have you heard of Great Feel? I have not. Yes. So, all right, guys. Well, look, I actually have a hypnosis coming up here in a few minutes, and so I'm going to go ahead and do that. But I'm really excited. And if you are someone who is ready for a physical and mental and emotional change, hit the link below or go to definewellnesscenter.com/PT and fill out the application, sign up for a free workout. By the way, offering a free workout, I hate dangling that out there, because if you're someone who just wants something for free, please don't waste your time or mine. This is my livelihood. This is what I'm serious about. I want to help people who want to be helped. But if you are someone who's like, look, let me see what this guy's all about, or let me go see what this workout's all about, and you are serious, please put your information in, because I'd love to show you all that what I'm talking about. This isn't facade. This isn't BS. This is legit. And anybody who's ever worked with me knows that. And so this will be the grandest evolution of what I've done, and really a culmination of my life's work of 20 plus years of experience. And I couldn't be more excited. I'm sweating just talking about it. So that's a good thing. All right, y'all. I appreciate you. Much love. And see you soon. definewellnesscenter.com/PT. Later. I love you too, Maeve. Sorry, I just saw that. Oh, good job, Mark. Good for you, brother.